で読み直しているで読み直しているだけがで読み直しているで読み直しているで読み直しているで読み直しているで読み直しているエキスしたいで読み直しているで読み直しているだけがで読み直しているしたいとで読み直しているで読み直しているだけがで読み直しているで読み直しているで読み直しているで読み直しているで読み直しているエキスしたいとで読み直しているで読み直しているだけがで読み直しているで読み直している
Welcome to the city of the unwritten. A city that's given so much. A city of people who aren't afraid to get their hands dirty. A city of makers, entrepreneurs, musicians, artists. A city of laughter, memories, and people who welcome others in with a cup of heartwarming handmade coffee. A city of people, young and old, working together. People who explore, live, and grow together. But what makes this place special? Being listed year after year as one of the best places to raise a family. Maybe because we have a community recognized for its safe neighborhoods and revered for its low unemployment. A city where adventure is everywhere you look, where you can pioneer your own story. We've opened a new page to write on for the generations ahead. Welcome to Bismarck. Come write your story.
It's on. Whoa, it's really on. Good morning. Welcome to 1 Million Cups. Thank you all for being here, and anyone that's online, thank you as well. Great to see. And in the front row, first time. How cool is that? All right. We've got people that have been here a lot of times that aren't in the front row, so good for you. I'm Evan Anderson with Gizmonics. I should probably... Tell us a little bit about what they're doing, tell their story, ups and downs, and then it gives us a chance to do a question and answer afterwards and help support them, lift them up, share some contacts, give them some ideas. Maybe a little criticism, but done in a good way. So that's what we're here for, and the reason we're doing that is we're trying to change the face of our startup community, our entrepreneurial community, over 1 million cups of coffee or beer. So that's what we're doing here. Something I always like to do is encourage you as we're listening to Kevin today, start thinking about questions in your head. What do you want to know more about? What ideas might you want to share with him? Because we have a question and answer at the end, and that's really kind of the meat and potatoes of this thing. So be thinking about those questions so that when Janya the Mug Runner starts running this microphone around later, you can grab it and ask your question. So please be thinking about that. Community announcements. We have an urgent one because Ross has to leave again. So Ross.
Hello everybody, I'm Ross Furlick with the Bismarck-Mandan Chamber EDC. And I'm wearing shorts today because it's Brats for the Brave Day. So Brats for the Brave is a event that we do in honor of all of our heroes, whether it's the first responders or our men and women in uniform in any fashion. It's for them, but it's open to the public. So we invite everybody to come down. It's down at Kirkwood Mall on the north entrance underneath the archway. And we are partnering with Vitalant this year because it is Battle of the Badges for them. So it's a blood drive thing as well. This is day 2 of that. So if you want to donate blood and help whichever badge you like, whether it's fire or police, we welcome you to do that. And we'd love everybody to come down.
Thanks, Ross. Now he's got to run back and keep setting up, I think. So thanks, Ross. All right, others. Yes, Shani, do you want to cover that one?
I'll quickly speak to this one because Jackie couldn't be here this morning, but a quick reminder that Jackie Stebbins is having her event this week, tomorrow at 6 p.m. And she is going to be giving a speech talking about her story. If you remember, we've had Jackie on the stage here. She's got an incredible story. She is so bright, so talented, and she's just got this amazing story to tell, and now she is a published author, and so she's going to be doing a book signing, and she's also brought in a special guest, and so I know I touched base with her, and she would really love to see as many of us there as possible, so if you get a chance tomorrow evening, if you go and give some support to Jackie, and I think it'll just be a treat for you as well, because she is always fun to listen to.
Okay. All right. Well, we got Kate liquored up, so she's ready to. Here we go.
Hey everybody, Kate from the Downtowners. Not this weekend, but next weekend, Friday, Saturday, is the street fair. It's our biggest event of the year. Dawn is holding on by a thread at this point. So if you see her and she looks insane, that's why. So we've got usually about 180 arts, craft, food vendors. We have bouncy games. We've got that weird barrel train thing, which people love. It's just like cut out oil barrels that are pulled by a lawnmower, but it's really, it's part of the Midwest culture, so get on board. And then we also have a lot of small, either organizations or small businesses represented, Boy Scout troops. Yeah, Boy Scout troops, churches, stuff like that. So come support them. Popcorn balls, it's just crazy. People come with like garbage bags for the popcorn balls and buy a whole bunch. And then just check out the local businesses that are around. It's usually a big retail sales day for our local businesses during Street Fair, so please check them out and support them. Also want to mention that powwows this weekend and the food truck festival, so get out and support those guys as well. It's a lot to put the events on, so we hope everybody gets out there. Drunk or not, you can come whenever you want.
Yeah, a little applause for the downtowners. We got them all right here. They do such good work here in town, so thank you guys. All right, yes, I think we actually have Judy.
Hello, everyone. I'm Lene Hansen. I'm the new executive director at Bismarck Art and Galleries Association. And we have a really special event going on this month. We have Nicole Gagner in our main gallery, and her stuff is just amazing. She's got a painting in the alley, so that you probably recognize. Her show will be up until the 24th, and then in the member gallery we have Judy Lewis, who's got a wide variety of artwork in there as well. And if you can't make it to the reception, that is this Friday night from 5 to 7, the gallery is open all month long. So hope to see you there.
And Nicole should be familiar. I think she's been on this stage a couple of times. I think once with Leadership Bismarck Mandan, and then another time she's got a business, right? An art vending. Yeah. So, yep. It's all circular. Yeah. All right. Another announcement.
Hello. Michael Fink with Silicon Plains, and we are finally having our open house on September 14th, ribbon cutting open house. We're going to have Philly cheesesteaks. We're going to have beverages for all ages. And you're all welcome to join us and celebrate, and we'll have a good time.
All right. Anybody else? Going once? All right. Let's get on with the show. So today we are going to hear from Kevin Kellen. He's going to tell us about Almost Home Family Real Estate. And again, be thinking about your questions. Kevin, come on up.
Are we here? What's good, everybody? Listen, God is good. He's so good that I get to stand before you here today with one task and one task only. And that task is to show each and every one of you how one service is making an impact in an entire community by making the pathway to homeownership possible for anyone and everyone, especially those who cannot qualify. Hey, my name is Kevin Kellen, as we've already mentioned. Sometimes I refer to myself as Jack Black without the Jack. You picked that one up, didn't you? And this is the true heart of Almost Home, that we are a lease option specialist team that has a desire to offer an innovative, success-driven pathway to home buyers, educate families in building wealth, and grow communities to have peace in their faith, their families, and their future. Now, people ask me all the time, they go, we've never heard of something like this. What made you start a business like this? And with my chest high, my entrepreneurial spirit strong, I look at them and I tell them, greed. But listen, not my greed and not your greed, but this. 60,000 homes in the year of 2019, in the fourth quarter of the year, were not purchased by home buyers, not families who have a desire to build a life for their children, but by investors alone. And then 2 years later, in the year 2021, 80,293 homes in the fourth quarter of the year were not purchased by families, but they were purchased by investors alone. And this year, in the year 2022, 28% of all single-family homes that were purchased were not purchased by families, but they were purchased by investors who have a desire to line their own pockets without the benefit of anyone else but themselves. Now, why does this matter? This matters because what we found is that since the year 1965, the increase of the home value of average homes has increased by 149%. But you know what? In just last year, the median income has only increased by 15%. And year after year after year, that divide continues to grow larger and larger and larger. And what I've noticed is it's their self-interest that produced in me a servant heart that has a desire to solve a problem that I see families continue to face in this crazy, which every agent knows in here, crazy world of real estate. And that problem, that singular problem, is ignorance. And so we decided that we wanted to create one service with 3 solutions that will turn barricades into bridges that would take families to a place where they were once denied, where they can now have access. And of those 3 solutions, the first one is service. You know, I know a guy. He was the greatest human being and most influential human being to ever walk the face of the earth. And he said these words: "I did not come to be served, I came to serve." Anybody in here know that guy? He's my brother from another mother, but we got the same father. That's a Christian joke. You probably don't get it. Listen, the way that we serve is by creating a system that qualifies the unqualified and gives people the opportunity to, 1, move into their dream home today, 2, even with no or bad credit, 3, get paid from renting and 4, never have to deal with rent increases ever again, or even being priced out of their own home market. And this is that simple, this is that practical process, this is that simple system. The reason is because we didn't want to just offer it, we wanted to share it and teach it so that even people with their own neighbors would be able to do it for them as well. The second one is community. In this room, I almost started dancing, I'll be honest with you. Look, even in this community, even in this room right now, I know that there's all types of people. There are neighbors, there are family, there are friends, there are agents, there are brokers, there are loan officers, there are entrepreneurs, there are people who have a desire to see their community flourish, but I can guarantee you, if we want to start anywhere, it has to start from home. And the way that we do that is by coming together, bringing every service, every skill set, every business that we have to be able to see the unqualified become qualified to be able to have an opportunity at home ownership. The third one, which is, I believe, the most valuable and most important, because even God himself says that my people perish from the lack of knowledge. And that one is education. And through seminars, through courses, through webinars, through presentations just like this, we are representing the path to home ownership one tenant at a time, because we know that there are officers, that there are mortgage officers that have had to turn people away because they couldn't get qualified. And even though you didn't tell them they were not enough, it's how they felt when they had to walk away from you. There are agents who had to allow deals to fall apart because a buyer couldn't get qualified. And even though you didn't tell them that they weren't enough, it's how they felt. And no longer do they have to feel that way again, because we have become that answer. We have become the solution, because we believe that this information can change someone's dream home situation. And here us at Almost Home, we qualify the unqualified and make the lives of our community better. And now, today, every one of you in this room and those watching can too. Thank you.
All right. So Zhanya's got the mug mic, so throw your hand up if you've got some questions. And I see we have some questions already. We'll just lead off with you then.
Good morning.
Hello.
Is this on? Hello? Oh, perfect. What is the application process like?
The application process is simple. They simply go to our website, www.almosthomefamily.com. And what happens is they complete the application with us first. Before we send them to an officer or a broker, They come to us first, and we want to qualify them and make sure and give them an understanding of exactly what they're going through. We want to figure out what their goals are. What is it that they want to do? You know, why do you want to buy a home? Because we never want to put somebody in a strenuous situation, because the most important thing to us is their success. You know, one of the things is with something like lease options, 50% of those deals fail and don't allow families to reach home ownership. But one of our goals is for it to be beyond that at 90%. And so that process is actually very simple. So simply just that, fill out that application online and come and see us, and we send them forward to a mortgage broker, mortgage loan officer to get them qualified.
So your role then is, it sounds like maybe some education. Or do you act as almost an advocate then through that process?
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
Advocacy and education is the number one thing, right? Because it's one of the reasons they've come to us is because they've been denied by someone else. And so that's why we say we qualify the unqualified, because we can make room in our business to say, okay, your situation, your desire, your motivation, it qualifies you to be able to say, when we put you into this program, you're going to take the steps necessary with this team around you to hold you accountable to get you to success.
Cool. Kate?
Yeah, are you, do you hold the mortgage and they lease from you, or they are holding the mortgage themselves and through the lease option, you know, pay the mortgage and escrow and things like that?
So the way the lease option is we're setting them up for homeownership, right? So to be able to have the opportunity, for example, like we said, when a deal falls apart, they don't get that home, but instead of, I love this because it's substitutionary, right? And that's another Christian thing. But what we do is we take their place. Right? Instead of allowing that deal to fall apart, we come in, we purchase the home, and we set them on a journey to be able to purchase the home back from us.
Okay. Yeah, John.
Hey, I get to ask questions too, remember? I'll be right there, Tanya. So when we first met in the lobby up there, you told me you had been in Bismarck for about 2 years before you came across 1 million.
2 winters.
Two winters. Yes, you had paid your dues. Could you tell us a little bit about kind of your backstory? How did you end up here in Bismarck? And did you have entrepreneurial adventures before this? Or, you know, how did you start this entrepreneurial journey?
Okay. I'm going to try to make that a short one because I can be long-winded, like a French horn. Hey, are we still here? All right, we're here. I'm originally from Mississippi. If you didn't realize that right away, if I brought my wife up here and let you talk to her, you'd know it. Her accident is a lot thicker than mine. The reason we decided to come up here, it was a family decision. So as you can see, everything about my life is family. And so the reason the entrepreneurial spirit for me started, believe it or not, it was not a desire for something material. It wasn't a desire for something physical. It was more of a understanding that where I was originally and in nonprofit services, I started to realize that there was starting to be changes that I didn't align with, that I didn't agree with, that my beliefs didn't line up with necessarily. And so I had to ask myself one question when I got here. I said, you know, could I go somewhere else and then have to do this entire thing all over again and end up with this irritation and frustration? Or can I become the person that says, you know what, I see a need, I want to fill that need, but I also want to set a foundation that says this is what we stand on and this is what we stand for, and this is exactly what we're going to do, and we're going to do what we say we're going to do, and we're not going to change that. And so then I started this business.
Yes.
Yes, my name is Tanya. I just have a few questions.
Sure.
Number one is, how many families do you intend to help this year and maybe over the next few years? What's your plan on that? And then also sometimes, you know, I'm in mortgage, and so sometimes last minute something might change. So if you were to come in and step in, how, like, would it be a cash deal, or would you have financing lined up? That would be my question.
Good question. So as far as, I'll start with the financing. As far as the financing, because deals do fall and you want to get them recovered quickly, as far as being able to come in and get that taken care of right away, it's very simple. Not only do we do deals with, through ourselves, but we also do them with other investors. And so we have the cash available to be able to come in and not even just do those cash deals, but to be able to get those mortgages from whoever is a part of the deal. So for example, if a broker is part of that deal, we will come in and immediately work with that broker. So that's why it's important for us to already have those established relationships, because more than likely you're a broker, correct? So it would be ideal for us to have a relationship already so that immediately we can come in, that we can get qualified and we'd be able to get that deal done right away. If you didn't know who I was, it'd be a little bit more time consuming. And so it's more important that we have that relationship so that we already know, hey, I can trust this person. We can get this done quickly. What was that first question? I missed that one. How many families we intend to help? This year, with just focusing simply on education, because it is something that a lot of people don't know about. We have a desire to do from 12 to 15 families, to start with that and be able to say we've helped at least one every single month, right? And then future, we want to be able to double that every year following.
Hi, me again. Two-part question. What documentation is needed for your qualification process, and is there any specifications on the home itself that need to fit into to work for you?
When it comes to the documents that they need, they're simple documents. Of course, we want to be able to know, what is their income. So a W-2, simple, or, even do they have evidence of what their income has been for the previous 3 months? Just because, like we said, their success is important to us, so we don't want to put them in something that they can't sustain over a 2-3 year period. And also, when it comes to those documents, we also want to have an idea of what is their credit, right? Where are they, so that we can help them get from where they are to where they need to be in order to be able to be successful and be able to get that property back from us. And telling y'all, these double questions, I'm going to get better at them. What was the second question?
Are there any specifications on the home itself? Like, does it have to be a certain price point?
Oh, the thing about people in home ownership, everybody is flexible, right? One person could qualify for one thing that another person couldn't qualify for. And that's why we want to come to them first and say, what are your goals? What are your needs? What are your desires? And then we come to agents, we come to mortgage loans officers, and we say, here, this is what they desire. What can they actually get qualified for? And then we'll meet them in the middle. And if we can get the deal done in what they can qualify for to sustain a good deal that is sustainable for them, then we'll definitely follow through with that. So it's all based on their success.
Okay. Mike?
You probably haven't heard, but we have quite a few job openings, so much so that a lot of businesses are starting to bring people in from the outside, even not only from the United States, but also from other countries. So those backgrounds can be challenged for the people that are coming here legally to fill those, especially skilled positions and things. What would be a process for those folks that might have a different history than us that commonly grow up in this area?
Now, that's a really good question. And I'll tell you, I personally haven't gotten into that process before. It would be the same process, yet we would figure out what are their needs in order to get them to the place that they need to be able to get what they need as far as, is it, if they have the income, is it credit history? Is it income history? What are the needs that they have for us to be able to help them? And that's why we talk about community, right? When I'm thinking about a question like that, it's, who do I go to? Who are the people in the community that we can be able to go to say, hey, what is their need? What exactly do they need, and how do we help them get there? So even though personally I am just thinking they would just go through the pathway like normal, they may have to do a few other things that I haven't experienced yet. So that is a good question. I would love to get back with you on that one.
Kate?
I do have two questions, but
Two
I will
questions.
ask them one at a time.
There you go.
Yes.
See, the drinkers got it right.
Yeah. So how long is it before somebody is leasing from you that they take over kind of the mortgage note? Or what's the average kind of, are they leasing from you for 2 years and then they can take over the note, or how does that, what's the duration?
The overall average deal that we like to do is 3 years.
Okay.
but we prefer that people have the opportunity, and if they're able to be able to do it ahead of time. So anytime within that 1 to 3 year period is perfect.
Okay. My second question is, let's just say someone's circumstance changes, they get divorced, there's a death in the family, they're in the lease product and they can't afford to buy it. Do you, obviously you own the home again, do you bring another group in to take over that mortgage, or what happens if they have to kind of get out of the lease because of a change of circumstance?
Perfect. That's one question, and now I'm going to give you 2 answers. So, so one at a time. No, when something like that happens, one of the things that we desire is, of course, we care about people and not profit, right? And we know what we call is, we like to say life happens, right? Because it really, really does. And if something like that happens where they're not able to follow through, we don't want to penalize people for life happening to them. So one of the things that we'd like to do is discuss with them, what can we do for you? Because originally, one of the things that they do is they put down their, entry fee, their non-refundable option consideration is what we call it, to be able to get into the program. And so if we can clearly see that there was a life event that was just not fair, and it happened to them, we don't want to penalize them. Like I said, we want to be able to support them to be able to go somewhere else and not just take all of their cash flow. We want to be able to return some of that back to them to be able to help them move on from where they are. The second thing is, yes, we want to be able to bring in another person who's able to, take that over if they desire to. And so if that's something that they are able to do, they can get qualified for, they can go through the process like everybody else, then we definitely aren't going to say no. We're going to say, if this is what you really want, we'll make it happen for you.
So 1 to 3 years, they're basically making payments to you, and you hold the note.
Mm-hmm.
At whatever time they feel or that they're ready. Now, do they have to basically reapply? Because basically the note is going to then be in their name with a lender, right? So how does that process work? They're in a different, they're not going to have a ton of equity probably at that point in the home, but you thinking that they're going to have some stability shown over that period of time that's going to make it easier for them to kind of get that on their own?
100%, 100%, and that's one of the reasons why I actually love, and this is not necessarily, I'm not going to say that, not like that, not worded that way. One of the reasons why it's more fluid with brokers is because they have multiple lenders that they can work with to be able to decide that deal on the front end and say, okay, if they can get to this within 1 to 2 to 3 years, then we're good to go. And so we create a deal that creates that journey that says, boom, at this time, on this day, you should have this to be able to purchase the home back from us. And I actually wanted to also mention, you mentioned equity. This is actually one of my favorite parts about what it is that we do, because, for example, if we were to say that the average home appreciation was 8%, right? Purposefully, we would price the property to return to you at 4%. Why do we do that? Because we want to give you an opportunity at equity. Because that is something in a rental situation in an apartment that you would never have. So that when you buy the property back from us, and instead of not having any equity at all, you now have 4% of equity every year that you were in the property.
Cool. Well, you've got a lot of moving parts. How do you determine kind of your margins in during that 1 to 3 year period to be able to continue to do what you do and cover your overhead? And how do you figure that out as far as how much do you take along the way to ensure that you can keep going?
Well, it's simple. There's three ways that we do that. Like we mentioned at the beginning, a non-refundable option consideration that we use right away to be able to get them into the program, and then of course the cash flow over time. And then at the end, when we sell the property back for them, the margin is higher, but not high that it prices them out of the equity. So that is what we are able to use to be able to sustain what we do.
Okay, cool. Shania.
All right, so Kevin, hearkening back to another conversation we had, I asked you, who would be your dream audience in here? And you said, brokers as well as financial institutions, but you also said people who are currently renting who don't know there's an option. That's a hard audience to spread the word to. So tell us a little bit about how are you getting that word out there, that your services are available?
It's the third option, right? The third solution that we talked about with the one service with three solutions is education. People tend to be afraid of what they don't understand. And there's one thing that I know is I'm willing to take the time to sit with a person one-on-one in group settings, presentations just like this, or even inviting people to seminars and webinars to be able to educate them first, right? We never want to bring someone into something that they don't understand or know about. Like that's also something we put within the deal is like, do you fully understand what it is that you're getting into? Because we never want to convince someone to get into something and then take advantage of them. That's just not, now that happens, don't get me wrong. But that's not something that I believe in, and that's not something that we stand on. So we want to educate because we want people to understand.
Are there models either in this community or others that you've seen doing something similar that you're able to benchmark a little bit or not?
You know, what's crazy is as far as this community, no. There are not any. And one of the things I love about that is to be successful, you have to be the first, the only, or the best. Well, guess what? We are the first, the only, and the best. And so I think the closest that I've seen is Fargo. And I believe it's called Home Partners of America. And even they don't take the measures that we take to see the success of the individual, rather than being able to produce profit for everybody else around the deal.
Oh, good.
Couple of questions, and I will, again.
One at a
Kate,
time. No.
I learned from Kate here. How large is your staff? What's your team made up of right now?
So currently with Almost Home, we're sole proprietor. I work and connect with members of the community.
Okay.
So when you say team at Almost Home, it is myself. But when we talk about team members, what I like to think of it is one of the deals that we have, for example, is called a 1-7 deal. The reason it's called a 1-7 deal is because it's 7 successes, but 1 unqualified person. And so what is happening is not only is this unqualified person becoming qualified, but the 2 agents that are involved, the seller, the buyer agent, the seller that's involved, us, ourselves, the JV partner that could be a part of the deal as well, the investors that we bring into the deal, and then also the broker. And so when it comes to all of those persons coming together, it's very difficult. And you may not be hinting at this, but it's very difficult for me to do anything without anyone else knowing about it.
Okay. And the second question is kind of more about what your past, I guess. You had mentioned you'd worked in the nonprofit sector.
Mm-hmm.
Can you just talk about that a little bit?
Sure. I was in adolescent rehabilitation, and it was probably something that I really, really enjoyed. And the one thing that I missed out on was the opportunity at getting to connect with families as a whole. And this goes back to, being able to share truth and to be able to see them succeed, not just in life to come, but in this life that we have right now. And so when I left there, it was something that I still wanted to be able to do. I still wanted to be able to inspire families. I still wanted to be able to enlighten families. I still wanted to be able to work with families. This family has been so important to me that I said, what is the one thing that everyone knows? If you want to reach anyone's family, you start with being a part of their home. And so that's how this came about.
Well, I see the mic runner running. Run. All right, Mike.
I do like what you said about not taking advantage of people, but everybody's seen a lot of presentations and things, and
Sure.
Proof is always in the results and such. So I did share this presentation because I share 1 Million Cups quite a bit. but I shared them in 2 private groups as well. And our business environment and economy and everything that the powers that be really rake certain groups of the population over the coals. So I don't know if anybody will contact you, but those entities that are raking them over the coals, don't be the next one. And look forward to hearing about the success if this is an exception to that rule, if that makes sense.
No, good. We appreciate that. Thank you.
So Kevin, do you have some financial partners in this? I mean, because essentially you're carrying quite a lot of mortgages, right?
Yes.
So I would assume at some point lenders are going to say, "Wow, dang."
Yes, we definitely. That's actually. I'd like to consider, myself the middleman, and being able to be the melting pot to bring so many different types of people together. Because of course, like I said, I just love people, and so yes, we have investors that come in and be a part of it. And even those we like to screen as well. We like to qualify them and say, do you actually care about the people in your community? And one of the things that we also love about what we do is we like to also open it up to the community. So those who want to be able to invest in seeing the success of other families in the community can say, hey, I want to be a part of this. I want to support my community by investing in this project.
Okay, so that's something you're always actively looking for, our investment partners as well. Okay,
Correct.
Well, that's good to know as well. Kate?
Yeah, I have so many questions, but are you able to get folks into a different housing type? So like a modular home, a trailer park, or a trailer, something like that? Or are you just looking at single family, traditional, detached homes?
That's a good question. And I would say that if that is what they desire, and if that is what they believe that there is going to benefit for their family, like I said, we want to see their success. And if their success is we want this, then we're not going to say, no, we're not going to do that, right? It's going to be, we're going to make that happen for you. So yes, to answer your question.
Cool. I think somewhat to Mike's point too, you've been doing this for a fairly short time. It's going to be nice when you get some people that have actually taken over and get those success stories to be able to leverage those a little bit too.
100%.
But it sounds like to this point, maybe it hasn't been too difficult to find opportunities where people are needing your services.
Right. And I tell you this though, people do come to us and they say, I like this idea, but I don't know anything about it. And so that's why the education is so important, because you never want people to make moves out of fear. You always want people to do it out of faith. So.
Good morning. I've purchased and sold homes before, and one thing that I've recognized is that everybody who is a part of the process gets a piece of the pie. Nobody does anything for free. And so there are more people inserted into the process through your services, through you and JV partners that you referred to earlier. So how does the purchaser who is needing the assistance, how is it made easier for them or cheaper for them through this process?
Because they're able to act right away. We're just giving them an option to have something that they want right now. In reality, if they didn't use the service that we provide, which is okay, what would happen is appreciation. And so let's say that they were renting and saving. Well, if appreciation took off like a rocket, they would now be priced out of that. And if years prior, they would have taken the step to say, hey, we want to do this. We want to have this option to be able to say, when we're ready, we can act right away. Because you may have a plan on your own and say, when I'm ready, I want to do this. But then you may be ready now, but years later, now you're priced out. Because we've seen it happen tons and tons and tons of times. But now when you have these multiple numbers of people around you to be able to support you and to be able to give you exactly what you need at a set price that doesn't move, no matter what the market does, that gives them an opportunity that they didn't have before.
So you're almost taking future rental payments or something that isn't really going to net them anything, and kind of bringing that forward a little bit, because I think it's a really legitimate
Yeah,
question.
bringing that
to
forward.
take the 40,000 foot view and say, well, there are some more people in the middle. How does that work? And, and I thought that was a pretty good answer too, in terms of thinking through that. Mike.
Yeah, I just have a question about your real estate investment fund. Are you only allowed to solicit money from accredited investors or non-accredited as well? To
No,
meet the
so
SEC guidelines?
we have actually opened to non-accredited. I have not had an accredited, but what we like to do is give opportunities of those in the community to non-accredited. So your specialists, your doctors, your dentists, your hardworking people who are bringing in a number of cash flow but have nowhere to place it. And so what better place is there to place it than in the community you already live in, and you can see it grow. You don't have to worry about it going somewhere else. It's right there in the same place that you are. Did you have a question? It's where, yeah.
So I know there's a bunch of different people in this situation, but who becomes the landlord for this person?
The investor.
The investor.
Whoever places the funds becomes that landlord for the person, which we prefer not to see it as a landlord-tenant relationship. It is a supportive partnership that we're coming alongside you to say, hey, we're here to help you.
Okay, so you're bringing the investors in not to throw money in a pile that you can use. They're actually putting
Yes.
their name on the line for that
Yes.
property.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So does this person then sign a lease with them, or how does that process work then?
They sign that lease with us at Almost Home.
Okay.
And then we sign with the investor. So like I said, the middleman, and we keep things in order. That way the investor can't, do their own thing and take advantage or anything like that. So we keep everything humble and keep everything solidified and keep everything legitimate.
Okay. So it makes it easy for the investor. They don't have to, other than just ponying up their funds.
Exactly.
you
There's no
handle all the-
management. They don't have to fix any toilets or manage any tenants.
But that's a good question. Maintenance, things of that nature, is that on the tenant, or is that on the owner?
That's on us. That's something that we take care of, and we're willing to say at a certain point, right? We'd like to say that anything under 1,000 is for the tenant to take care of, the future home buyer, but anything over that, we take care of.
Hello, I have a question kind of about the education portion. So
Sure.
is it just being taught by you? Is it a set of curriculum and there's like worksheets and videos? Or, if somebody has 2 jobs to pay rent, when do they find the time to like take these classes? Do they have to pay for them? Anything, whatever. Yeah, just go for it.
Sure. Most of it is consultation. And most of the time, one of the things that I like to do is sit with people one-on-one and go through it with them. So yes, right now it is me, but the desire and the plans as we continue to grow is, yes, doing those collective webinars and video. Of course, I'm more of a talker than I am a writer. So that's when, I'm allowed to have the opportunity to bring in others that are be able to create those curriculums. But we do have partners who we partner with that can help us with those curriculums when I'm just the talker. But most of the time, yes, it's video, teaching, sitting down, one-on-one consultations is what we're doing right now.
Interesting. Because I think we have others in the room that are into teaching. Shania, do you want to?
Oh, well, I'm into teaching, but I have a question. So there is a lot of, it sounds like there's a lot of effort on your end for each one of these, right? Because there's the education piece, there's the managing the deal, bringing the parties together and things. So from a scalability standpoint, how many, you'd said like 12 a year. At what point do you need to add more people on, you move beyond the sole proprietorship and you need to bring more people on? What do you think?
One of my favorite things to think about every single morning is what can I eliminate, what can I delegate, and what can I automate?
Oh.
And thank goodness a lot of those things have been automated. Now, I love people, and I definitely want people to be a part of the team, but where technology can reign, we're going to definitely use it. And so when we get to a place that is necessary to bring in others to be a part of Almost Home, I would say when we have reached that goal to have met those 15 families, because one of the things that I understand about being able to serve someone and help them do something that they weren't able to do before, they go and tell somebody else. And so next thing you know, we have a horde of people that are coming in, and so we want to be prepared for that. And so after that first year of being able to meet our goal, we want to bring in others on the team to be able to sustain that next rush that is indefinitely coming. Because when you're able to help people and take care of people, you're going to need other people to be able to sustain all of the movement and the chaos.
Cool. Thank you. And I think my thought on education maybe follows up on Kayla a little bit, but does your education, is it kind of broad in terms of just kind of general fiscal responsibility and just kind of managing money in general a little bit to kind of help these folks get into a position where they can be sustainable and get their house?
It's a collection. Right. One of the things, of course, that we teach is, the process as a whole. What exactly is lease option? What exactly do we do and how exactly does it work? Also, the things that we desire to be able to do when we talk about teams is to be able to bring people in, to be able to put them on these financial betterment journeys, to be able to say, here's what you need to do. Here's how you can, better your financial situation. Here's a better way to use your income. So my desire, which is what most companies like this one don't do, is to be able to partner with financial advisors and financial institutions to be able to come and teach these ideas of financial literacy.
Okay, very good.
So you were talking about teaching and education. Do you do that one-on-one through a modular session?
Yes.
Internet, how do you do that?
Yes. So one-on-one is what we do a lot, is what I spend a lot of time doing. But to actually broaden it a little bit, to make more opportunities for more people, we do video. We do online video courses, an opportunity to be able to give people an opportunity to see, hear, and know. Because sometimes, with hardworking people, there's hard time to find that time, especially when they already have children. It can be tough. And so one of the things we want to be able to do is give that digital opportunity for people to be able to sit down with themselves or with their partner or with their spouse or whoever it is to say, okay, let's go over this and let's talk about it together.
Okay, and then how many families have you helped today?
Today? To date.
To date.
To date.
It's early yet.
I was like, today, well, it's 10 o'clock.
To today.
So I can give you a couple hours and I can probably tell you, when it comes to the number of families that I personally have helped, to go through the whole process, I can say none. Personally. But when we talk about the educational piece, I would say that there have been multiple families who have had the opportunity to hear about an option that they've never heard before. Now, are they probably waiting to see, that waiting period where that's like, we're going to see somebody else do it before we get in there. But there's probably that piece. But we have definitely got the opportunity to sit down and educate and even share. Like, for example, a family that I know of recently came to me and was like, hey, I'm already in this deal. How is this working for me, or is it just working for the other person? And we were able to talk them through it and say, here are your options. Here's what you can do now. Here's how you can go to the person and say, what changes you can make, what addendums you can put into your deal at hand. So we've even done that as well. So a lot of it has been more sharing and educating, like I mentioned before.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I think we're getting about to our last question. I don't know if you want to mention, before we do that, mention the information you have up front.
Yeah, and like I said, when it comes to learning more about it, being able to be educated in it, here we have some brochures We also have cards if you wanted to get in contact with me personally, if you wanted to, sit down with me personally, sit down with us personally, and have an opportunity to talk more about it. There's actually 3. There's 3 different ones because I know people like specific information that is specific to themselves. And so we have one specific that is for renters that have a desire to do something different for them to have an opportunity to be able to have a chance at home ownership. There's another one for mortgage brokers to learn more about, what is the benefit to you? How does it work for you? How does it allow you to serve people? And another one for realtors, one for agents to be able to do the same thing. How does it work for you and how are you able to serve people with it? So,
Thank you. Janya, would you like to do the honors?
Yes. Before I do the question, so the materials that Kevin brought, they're right by the door into the stage. So, I between the mug club and the coffee, we kind of take over that counter, but it's over when you just first come in the door. I'd encourage you to grab that. Well, Kevin, thank you so much for being here. So, 1 Million Cups is about businesses that are in anywhere in that startup into the growth phase. And I think some of the most are exciting when someone is very, very new and getting it rolling and really getting ready to take off. And I appreciate you sharing that with us. And I think you're going to have a lot of great conversations following this presentation.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you. So our last question is always the same, and I know you're an attendee, so you know this, but what can we as the 1 Million Cups BizMan community do to help you succeed?
When you accumulate the knowledge, assimilate the knowledge and have an understanding of it, go tell someone. Tell someone that needs it, if you need it, right? One of the questions, if you've met me before, you've probably heard me ask, do you know someone, or are you someone that has a desire for home ownership but just couldn't qualify? And so if you know that person, and we can be there with you, right? If you don't want to just send somebody to us because you don't know me that well, look, be there with them, because that's the one thing that I care about, is creating a supportive and productive community. So,
All right, thank you. Well, let's thank Kevin for being here. All right, we'll tell you a little bit about what's coming. Next week, we've got Leadership ND here, which is a University of Mary program, kind of near and dear to our hearts. Johnny and I actually had an opportunity to do a teach piece with their cohort in 2022, and they've asked us to come back in 2023. It's a really fantastic program. Basically, from people all over the state come and have experiences all over the state, and they become this cohort, similar to what Leadership Bismarck Mandan does through the chamber. It's just a really neat program. It's going to be their 4th year next year, and these cohorts are still getting together and doing amazing things and kind of creating these contacts all around the state. So really anxious to hear. Unfortunately, we're going to be gone next week, so I'm going to miss that, but definitely want to be here for that. And the week after that, September 21st, we've got Eden Med Spa. And I think just looking at their website, I think we're all going to want to sign up for some services there as soon as we hear from them. And then Just You Studios on the 28th, which is kind of an interesting concept that I look forward to hearing more about. We've kind of a photo studio maker space sort of concept that sounds pretty intriguing. So you want to catch those. And if anybody you know would like to present, I always like to ask, wasn't too bad, was it? Okay, it was great. You heard it from Kevin. Please have them apply to present. It is as simple as going to 1millioncups.com/bizman, and simple process. We walk you through it, and we'll get you up here. And with that, thank you so much for being here, and have a terrific week.